Yeah, they did number on Skype.
It's different. Welcome back once again to this week's podcast. I'm just gonna preface everything by saying I'm feeling very busted this week. So
Same. That'll work out great.
yeah, okay, good. Well, this week's podcast, regardless, is going to be brought to you by Replacing My Consciousness with YouTube Drama and Dr. Jill.
This week's podcast is also brought to you by Fieri Charity and Disney Bukake.
I don't like that. I am your host, Madison.
I am your other host, Jesse James. Welcome to our conversational leftist mukbang. It's our holiday season.
Woo! Woo!
Yeah.
I would lift up my cat to bring him to camera view, but he's sleeping. So just know that there's a cat here.
I saw it. It's true.
He's kind of mad at me. He's got the angry tail wag going on. I don't know why, but
that flashing light messed up my picture. Let me get a come on, get that fireplace, and
there you go.
There's the lighting again. So that was the word that I had to look up the spelling to.
Cocky?
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice. Don't remember the spelling. Doing good.
Good. Yeah. That's one I would feel confident to not know. Although I think I know it.
I do now, and I probably will forever. So there you go.
Nice. Yeah. Good knowledge, I guess. I guess.
Unfortunately, I think I've started to make a brand for myself of having knowledge that isn't good to have. So
Bukake
good.
Knowledge.
Yeah, Bukake knowledge. That's the new compound word. It's Fieri Charity and or for charity maybe. And
ooh, I like that.
And no cocky? No, I don't know what it would be. But it's accurate. I think that works. Do you have any snacks on your end besides that cat?
I do. So I have the kitty cat. I have a very sweet snack corner, which is not normal for me. Usually I like savories better, but I had a friend send me some homemade caramels.
Ooh.
And they are really, really, really good. And
is it softer or harder?
It's soft. They're soft caramels.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of them, and I'm very excited. And he put a nice little heartfelt note in there, and that was very nice of him.
Excellent.
And then I also have this hard candy that I just found on my floor. It is I think it's a milk tea flavored candy that I've had for a while apparently. And then I have this bottle remainder of wine. Do you remember a while ago when I had a coworker who sent me a month of the box of wine thing?
Yep.
I have now forgotten to unsubscribe from it for 2 months in a row.
Excellent.
So this is from that.
That'll happen.
Yeah. So that's my corner.
I was gonna show off a bag of candy sloths because it's the most 90s packaging ever. Ooh. I might grab that. I had decided against it, but I'm getting some
smoky and spicy
Southern style barbecue black bean snack crisps, which I don't think I've shown off before, but these are a type that I've shown off before.
Mm-hmm. I like those pea snacks.
They're really good. Weirdly, they go stale so slowly that it's almost impossible not to finish them. These have never been fully sealed. and they're fine. Um,
You need more chips like that.
but these are, I'm not going to be eating these. These are actually something that my roommate got. But look at this, like, gross 90s, well, maybe thousands. I guess that's when sloths were more a thing, because I remember it showing up. I don't know why this just suddenly, like, popped into their radar, but I do kind of like Mega Chill and Down to Hang because it kind of reminiscent of like Netflix and Chill almost, but clearly they're not meaning it the way that is meant. Unless they are, because they nasty.
Unless that is a very interesting concept to go with this year. Just a random sloth.
Oh. So we're both pretty busted this week. We had sort of a somewhat late podcast last time, and then we jumped a week because we were both in different types of hells. Yours sounds worse. I would want to do yours less, but I found out that if you jump from doing slightly less repetitive motion than usual at work to doing double or triple what you would do normally in fewer days, your body sucks afterwards. So
doesn't like it.
So I'm currently on a portion of a CBD mint, some ibuprofen, and some Tylenol. Just a little bit of each. I don't take a lot of pills, so it still hits me pretty hard compared to some people, thankfully. But just to like take the edge off, this morning while in bed, the most comfortable place most would assume, my basically every joint I have that isn't like my right knee was just fucked for a while. I don't know why, but I also had a Charlie horse, very minor. It didn't get all the way to like muscle contortion or anything, but it started up running from the bottom of my rib cage on the left side to my like belt line, basically. And that's cool. That's what I like to have. One of the things I do at work requires me to stand with 1 foot flat and 1 foot heel down. And once you do that for a couple of hours, I guess your body starts to get pissed off about it. So who would have known?
Makes sense.
But how was your general experience over the last week? Was it, say, physically and mentally exhausting?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my mental, physical hell mostly comprised of packing up my old apartment and cleaning it. And we are now pretty much done. We just need to go in, like, I think after Christmas I'll probably go back down so we can take some pictures and proof of what we did and did not break.
Right.
And then hand keys over and all that. But yeah, it was mostly just packing and cleaning and that fun stuff. And working. I was still working. So
yeah, packing, cleaning, and working. Everybody's favorite 3 things.
Yeah, I have decided that I really would like to, for the rest of my life, be able to move my entire life in one box. That is my goal.
That is, in fact, something that I'm strongly considering. I have about 6 plus 6.5 to 7 total days worth of time before I have to figure out not before I have to figure it out, but before I will be lifting my like belongings again. And that is going to be a slow roll, I think, of me either, well, so we're not doing storage, I don't think, anymore, but I have bins, so I might utilize some permanent family housing of the few people that have that, and see if I can store some bins in some ceilings.
Nice.
And then probably pare down all those clothes that are like falling apart. But since I don't really buy clothes so much, um, it's probably a good idea to like trim down to a more manageable amount of garbage bag to carry around when I move. Um,
Yeah, I have
and
too many garbage bags.
and like I part of the reason why I'm into the whole like emulation community and stuff is to try and like find a way to take my actual like games and stuff from my life and put them in a thing and store them safely so that I can just sort of know they're there if they're necessary, or say somebody younger has a desire for something that is like as retro as you can get.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be fine to not have on hand. It's not like I'm going to be impressing people with this. Nobody's ever been impressed with it, let alone have it be a necessity for anything. Um, and then I was realizing that I have some stored stuff here that I've literally never unpacked since I got here. So like,
Yeah,
I don't really know what the point is of that.
yeah. We have boxes like that. Like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't miss this for 3 years, so I probably just don't need it.
Yep.
Ugh. So, oh, sorry, cat. I have to
Uh,
resituate.
the frost has worn off this prepped glass, but I will be having this.
Ooh, yep.
Uh, this is a Camarena tequila, uh, and I've not had tequila in quite a while, so I look forward. Well, it's very smooth smelling, but I look
Mm.
forward to probably at least making a little bit of a face uh, with this. Um, yeah, that smells like it could do some business. And of course, I don't have coffee today, which is weird. Um, maybe only to me, but it is weird. Uh, but what I do have is something that appeared in our fridge recently,
Oh my.
which is
Dragon tea.
a white tea dragon monster, which I think I may have had a long time ago when it came out, but I am pretty certain that it is not necessarily good. On the chance that this isn't exactly what I want to drink, and neither is the tequila, they may become one drink.
One. Ooh. Okay, interesting.
This is not
Very good.
fantastic.
uh, couldn't have anticipated that.
I know. We all get surprised by some things sometimes.
Yeah. I actually really enjoy the aesthetic and the design of monster cans, especially that one.
Yes, I do. I'm already a sucker for like this style of work to a
Mm,
degree. Um, Not necessarily because I like it all the time, but it is very like uh, in your face with its graphic
yeah.
style. And as much as it looks like a silk shirt from a high school, it also is an enjoyable like motif.
Mm.
These might have to get mixed because tequila I like drinking when I've had some drinks and I'm at a bar, specifically because it's like now I have the ability to drink this. I've worked up to it. This by itself, early is just not that it's early. I mean, like early in drinking
Yeah.
is
A little
rough
rough.
stuff.
Yeah, that the faces check out.
Uh, Especially because I am strictly a drink sipper unless it's like a chocolate cake shot or something that's like you get the full effect with a shot. So I will wait a minute, take some more sips of this, feel it out, but I think they're gonna be
Love it.
mixed, and I think it's gonna be bad. So I'm excited
I
for that.
am very excited. Yeah, I'm
Because
excited to see
this,
what
I
happens.
love tea. This is not tea. This is like a Gatorade with the flavor tweaked, is what it tastes
Yeah,
like.
yeah. Evan has actually gotten into drinking the uh what I think it's the Java version of Monsters. I've gotten
Yeah,
him those a couple of times because they're called like something dumb like Mean Bean.
yes. I am familiar with the Java Monster.
Yeah, I've bought those for him a couple of times. He likes those. It's pretty funny.
I strongly suggest people try the Java Monster when they also try the other energy drink coffees, because if you don't try multiple of them in like at least close enough to each other to kind of like get the difference, maybe try
Mhm.
like 2 or 3 of them in a week, you don't realize just how chemically they are, because they are real chemically. It's
Real
interesting.
bad. Yeah. I also love whoever the person is that thought like a good combination for people's health and sanity would be energy drink and coffee.
Yeah. Uh,
Maybe it just as an incredibly sensitive person, that sounds like a recipe for certain death, but oh
the
god.
interesting thing is most of those energy drinks that are coffee energy drinks have like half the caffeine of coffee still.
Really?
Uh,
Oh
yeah.
wow.
Like, well, I drink black coffee, so I think that swings the meter a little bit. But the unless you're gauging it against like a latte, which is kind of what they do, I think it's not actually all that caffeinated. Um,
Makes sense.
okay. So I used to go to a lot of weird, like, not underground. That sounds really pretentious, but like, literally under the ground clubs, like places where, like live art and stuff was. That would often have like really shitty sponsors for like, oh, if you come here, the cover is free, but you have to buy this $5 Sparks Energy alcohol mixed drink.
Mm.
Ah, I'm just gonna do this right now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Oh,
gonna be terrible. It does
that
look like piss. It looks like
that
bad piss.
that was not
Uh,
the color I was expecting for some
so
reason.
no, not for me either. So I guess this color of the most troubled piss you've ever seen will be what I'm drinking today.
Oh God.
Let's get a little
Good luck.
barbecue flavor to reset the old taste buds.
Yeah, you really
Uh,
need to cleanse your palate for this one.
anyway, those places would often have those sponsors, and the Sparks sponsor was pretty prevalent for a little while when I was like in college.
Hmm.
And Sparks, if you don't remember, was a energy drink that was like a beer and a half's worth of alcohol as well. Um,
Never heard of this.
they still exist, but now they don't have the alcohol in them because it was deemed not safe.
Like
uh,
a Four Loco situation, kind
yeah,
of.
no, it was like part of the post Four Loco purge of like they didn't get rid of everything. Four Loco was like the big one, but they started like companies like that hedge their bets, I think.
Mm,
Um, Four
gotcha.
Loco also the only version of that that ever tasted even slightly drinkable was the version that had the alcohol in it.
Mm.
Uh, I think they didn't change their syrups or whatever after they took the alcohol out, and it tasted terrible because it was like not designed for that. Um, but I had a legacy for Loco for like 2 or 3 years in a fridge, uh, just because it was like they won't make these again.
Yeah.
Gotta drink it when it's time. And then I think I had it like on a birthday or something, maybe. Not like satisfying. I actually never liked Four Loko, but it was one of those things that was like, this is important. This
Yeah,
means,
you have to like hold on to that for a little bit.
yeah.
Sure. Man, I wish I was of sentience around that time and like aware of that. It's not something I even learned about until like 2 years ago, maybe.
Which, the Four Loko?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't miss much, but it definitely was one of those like I hung out with a decent amount of people who were kind of in the like uh connoisseurs of 40s at the gas station kind of crowd, which I honestly I am too. It's just, you don't want to directly put yourself into dirtbag crowds all the time. Unfortunately, the pseudo street art crowd and the dirtbag crowd are kind of like one circle. So, uh, including a guy that I never met, but I heard a lot of stories about, who would get an Old English, unscrew the top so it would like lose any carbonation it had, and put it in the windowsill in the sun, so that by the time he had it, it would have been heated enough and flat enough for his liking, which is
uh,
just piss at that point. Like,
yeah.
just embrace the weird shit you like and stop making your own piss to drink, because that's
That's
worse
concerning.
somehow. Yeah.
Yeah, that is worse.
Ugh. Anyway, the point was, you're not missing much. You can find your own trash, and it will be probably more pleasant. But speaking of trash that is pleasant, Guy Fieri, just as a bit of exciting news, made his own government relief fund, essentially, and started the
Thank God.
restaurant relief fund, in which uh, raised uh, he raised enough money, it looks like, to give like 4,300 restaurants like small grants just to like help out with stuff.
Awesome.
Um, they're like several $100s. They're not like giant chunks of money, but it was just sort of a like, I don't know, something to help kind of fund. I think
Yeah.
it's still ongoing too, but like, I don't know, maybe we should all try to be more like Guy Fieri, and less like Mario Batali and all the fucking molestation chefs out there.
There's a comedian that I can't remember who their name is, but they have a bit about how Guy Fieri's been incredibly persecuted for no good reason, and we should all really just like him because he seems like a cool, normal dude who
Yeah.
just likes big hamburgers.
Part of me thinks that like there's always a difference between the way people are perceived and the way people feel they're perceived and stuff like that.
Mm.
I have a feeling that part of Guy Fieri being so cool about things might be partially because people have never given him the kind of respect that they would give an actual full celebrity.
Maybe, yeah.
I think people being celebrities that get treated like celebrities might actually be part of the problem.
Yeah, maybe the correct way to treat celebrities is to make fun of their hair
Mhm.
a lot for many years.
Well, to be
And then
fair,
they'll form charities.
if you look at the people who like go in and like Photoshop out hair like styles on Guy Fieri, uh, he should have the hair he has. It is why he looks notable. Because
Mm.
without that stuff, he just kind of looks like a dude.
He
Like
just looks like a guy.
he's not like Nicolas Cage, where you can kind of like shave Nicolas Cage bald like an egg and go like, that's Nicolas Cage still. He's got like the kind of face that you kind of want adornment around to like, and maybe you get mid 90s adornment. Whatever.
It's not a bad look.
Yeah.
It's just a look. Very notable look.
It's an uncle look. You can see him and be like, that's an uncle look. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to, like, hang out with Guy Fieri. But at the same time, I got no problems with Guy Fieri.
I will hang out with Guy Fieri.
Yeah, to be clear, I am posturing. I would hang out with Guy Fieri.
Especially if they're like hamburgers being served that are as big as my head. That's.
Yeah.
I'm all about that. Yeah.
Did you hear this guy died hanging out with Guy Fieri eating a hamburger the size of his head? Dope.
That's what I want for me.
Van Gogh got popular after he shot himself twice in the chest over a 2-day period to kill himself. I don't need to do that kind of action. I can go out with a big hamburger hanging out with Guy Fieri, and that's just fine for a story. Great. Yep. Then people have to like go through my stuff and they're like, oh, we actually kind of like these paintings. And then, you find your way into fame. My parents even have a weird little house by the beach, and they could be like, see, we have the little museum here of his weird fucking paintings. There you go. Legacy secured. Thank you, Guy Fieri.
And then just to memorialize you, Guy Fieri might even, put some of your art up in his house. His art from the man who was defeated by the hamburger.
And then he can be like, see this art over here? I need that off a flip-flop. And then, like that's the perfect place to be posthumously.
It's good.
If I could get Guy Fieri to speak at my funeral, it's not bad. I'm into it.
That's awesome. This is an incredibly pro Guy Fieri podcast.
Yeah. Don't be talking shit about Guy Fieri up in here unless he does something bad. Because until that happens, I'm here for Guy Fieri. Is that you twisting a caramel?
This is me twisting a caramel.
I'm going to need a review of this caramel.
Little pieces of my nail polish have just fallen into it.
Fuck yeah, it has. That's the caramel experience.
This is very good caramel. And I'm pretty sure that this is like his family's secret recipe that they'll never share with the world.
All right.
But he did post a picture of himself cooking it. And he mentioned that he was waiting for coconut water to evaporate. So there's coconut water in here.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah.
Which you can't really taste, but like knowing that it's in there, it makes sense with the taste.
I mean, if we really need to know, we can abduct this person and find out. Just depends on how good the caramel is. Yeah.
It's really good. It's incredibly good.
Is this a yearly thing they do?
Yeah, it is. I vaguely remember receiving a box of these, I think, in high school. And then we kind of just fell out of contact, and I've been back in that group of people recently. So he sent me one this year. It's very nice.
I got to figure out how to get in good with caramel person.
I'll introduce you.
Yo, I heard you make weight. Hey, what's your name? I'm not here just for the caramel.
Oh, what? Caramel?
Huh?
Yeah, he's a good person to get in good with. Wow, this nail polish has really just made its way into everything that I'm eating.
Interesting. How long ago did you apply it?
Like 4 days. I have a problem of picking it off. I can't keep it on my...
You're one of those people.
I'm one of those.
Yeah.
And this is a particularly flaky one. Usually I have a top coat that makes it so it kind of peels off in one go. It's not as messy and bad, but this top coat did not do that for me. So I'm covered in nail polish crumbs.
Cool. That's a look at least.
It's very Christmassy. It was red, so red
Yeah,
confetti.
what, green velvet and red? That's perfect.
Mhm. I actually had it on to create some content for some ads that we were doing. The company I work for that is like
Hmm.
mobile nails, so I was faking a good manicure and taking pictures of my nails. And for like branding purposes, the nails were red. Um, and I just felt like a Republican for like 4 days. I know that like it's Christmas, so that's also part of it, Christmas, and then our branding is red. But I just feel like having red nails is a very Republican thing, and
I
I didn't
I
like it.
think you put a French line on it, like put like white tips on there. Maybe
Mm,
that would help.
that would make
But
it more
yeah,
Christmas.
red can be a little, unless you're wearing like something shiny and red, it really does have some, I don't know, potential communications.
Weird vibes. I didn't, yeah, it's not a color I would normally do. But
I'm getting messages currently about snow in the area, so that's exciting. It's
ooh,
it's so this podcast today from here is one of the darkest, wettest podcasts uh you will receive. It has been raining like an actual downpour in the Seattle area all day so far today. Um, you know where I live. There are pools in the rocks outside,
yep.
and there's like an inch of water in the like back way, and it's been like the air quality has been decent for the last like 4 days, which is exciting. Um, so I've had the windows open, but this morning it sounded like somebody was pouring a bucket out for like the whole morning outside my window, which
Mm,
is exactly what I would like. And the sound has died down, but now it sounds like maybe it started snowing. So that's
no.
kind of interesting.
Mm, that's less preferable. I would prefer a heavy rain to a snow.
I'm a big heavy
Weather.
rain person. This could have implications for your family business
It could
because
indeed.
that is going to be closer to here and in an area that gets, I think, more snow than we do. So
Mm, yeah, that will be interesting.
these actually mellow each other out okay. This is
Really?
this is an all right drink. It took some of the sweet off of this horrible tea. So
I could, you know what? I could actually see that turning out. So the tea was dragon tea?
it was
Is it like
white.
a dragon fruit flavor?
It was white tea. I think the dragon tea is the like series because I think there's three of these
Oh,
if I remember. I know there's a green and I know there's a white, but I think there's a third one. Um,
okay. So it actually is just like tea flavored, not fruit flavored or anything
let's see
else.
what it actually says it's supposed to be. Uh, dating back to the ancient Song dynasty.
Okay.
Um, yeah, you bet. Uh, white tea was reserved for royalty and only served by virgins as a symbol of honor and respect. This somehow seems racist on a fucking monster can. Um,
So are they now telling us that since they're serving us white tea, they're just a bunch of virgins?
okay, according to this, there is a dragon fruit component to these.
Mm.
So that
Ooh,
is why it's dragon tea, I guess. Uh,
okay.
so that's probably what the extra sweetness is, but it definitely doesn't taste like dragon fruit specifically. It just tastes like they added a bunch of sugar to it.
Dragon fruit has a very odd. I don't even know that I would say that I know exactly what a dragon fruit is supposed to taste like.
I think dragon fruit kind of tastes like a papaya that sucks. Like
Hmm.
it's just not as good, but it's a similar kind of sweetness. Where papaya kind of at least has like an interesting flavor. Everything I've tasted of dragon fruit is like that sort of star fruit, like it's sweet, So
Yeah, that's how I would. That's the only way I would know how to describe it. I also don't know that I've had one fully ripened before.
I think that they're all sort of fruits that people like if they're too cowardly to just eat a kiwi, which is the
Mm,
real fruit.
that's true.
Yeah.
I do enjoy kiwi.
Uh, let's see. I had a so some of these notes that I have are literally from the day after our last podcast. So I'm trying to like parse them a little bit.
I don't remember that far back because my this is gone, all of it, forever.
Honestly, I'm in kind of the same spot. My work has been calling me in for like most of the days since our last podcast to do just the worst shit. So um one of those days, a little peek behind the scenes,
Mm.
I was literally called in for like a 4 hour extra shift of just vigorously erasing uh, cards. Uh, and it was an amount of erasing that required me to put my entire arm down on half the card to keep it from moving, and then like erasing the shit out of it, flipping it, and doing it again. And it was
Is
like,
this the erasing that I'm thinking of like there was an ink problem or something and erasing
it
was the only way to fix it?
there was an ink problem, but the ink problem was it wasn't set by the people who printed it because we didn't print these cards well enough.
Mm.
So the black ink, when it was pressed down to cut it, transferred to every card. Um,
Um,
so that sucked. It also sucked because it was a mirror image of what was on the front of the card. And at a
oh,
certain point, you could see through the card. So you had to like just start gauging after staring at like hundreds and hundreds of these cards if you were seeing an after image or if you were seeing a through image, and it was the
oh,
worst. Um, that was the start of my body being fucked up because doing that, you don't think it's going to be a pain in the ass until you get an hour in and you're like, wow, I hurt everywhere. um,
mm,
and then basic I had two projects that were both thousands of attachments, and towards the end of the second thing, which these jobs just like generally take like over a full day's worth of like straight like physical work, uh my twisting it onto the second sheet that it had to go onto and placing it was shooting pain up my arm, and then numbness would like shoot out and go away. So
oh,
you know that the nerves are loving this over hours. Um, so that was fun, and I'm also feeling that effect with like everything being fucked up. So
mm.
basically, everything from middle of my neck to middle of my legs is just having fun. Uh,
Ruined. Ugh.
did that cat run away?
No, I'm trying to situate my body around the cat so that I don't disturb him. And it's difficult because he's placed himself in the center of everything.
Yeah, that sounds like a cat. It sounds like an old cat that is being an asshole.
Yeah. Ooh, angry yawn. Oh, let me... Oh, he's grumpy.
So while I was doing this as sort of pretext to how my time went, I did a lot of like sitting in a stupor and watching media of different types. So I saw a lot of stuff. I imagine you saw less, but did you watch anything over the course of the last week and a half?
Yes, I did. So, oh, well, watch slash listen to.
Mm.
This actually is one of my topics of replacing my consciousness with just a conscious or constant stream of YouTube related drama.
It's
Um,
useful. It helps a lot sometimes.
It's great. It's great. Except for occasionally I'll like come to and realize that I'm dumber as a person.
Oh, sorry. I just got an email from Deborah Messing about the DNC. Hold on. Okay, go ahead.
No, this is very important. Please tell us what Deborah has to say.
Oh, it says dumb shit. Okay, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. Um, so are you familiar with H3 and like Ethan and Ela Klein at all of kind of
Only
YouTube
like
celebrity?
by name. I don't watch a lot of that stuff. I just hear bits about like stuff people watch.
Yeah, so he like they're kind of old guard YouTube. Like they've been on YouTube for a very long time. Um, a lot of just kind of meme shit posting kind of videos,
Yeah.
but now they've grown it into a podcast and like a clothing line, and they're actually fairly well known now. But he's so there's them. Are you familiar with Trisha Paytas?
No.
Okay, great. So Ethan and Ela have created a podcast with Trisha Paytas, and she is also kind of old guard YouTube. She's mostly famous for going on America's Got Talent for fast talking.
Cool.
Yeah. She did that, and then she got voted off, obviously.
Weird.
And
They didn't
then
like the fast talking.
no, they didn't. And she kind of has like she's a bigger lady, and she has uh her aesthetic is kind of like the bimbo sort of thing. Like that's what
Okay.
she does. And she for a while her entire career on YouTube was just kind of trolling people and making herself look like an idiot to get people mad at her, to get attention. There's a lot going on with her. She has talked about like drug addiction fueling a lot of that part of her life.
She sounds like a proper influencer.
Yeah, she is. That's a great way of putting it. And so now what she's doing is she's started a podcast with these guys, and does like OnlyFans, and she still does YouTube, but most of her content is like venting to the camera while she mukbangs something. That's just she kind of just is famous for being famous at this point, I think.
Right. Yeah.
Or for doing dumb shit. But so she and Ethan met a while ago when Ethan made kind of a iffy video criticizing women on Instagram for like not being realistic to what they look like in real life.
Like the concept of women on Instagram?
Like he picked Trisha's photos specifically to criticize, and was like he was basically taking their like glamour shots that they posted and then comparing it with other photos of them with like no makeup on and being like, you're lying. kind of
She erased her crow's feet, that whore.
Essentially. And so he did that to like in that video he kind of did that to a bunch of women, and she got mad about it, and
weird.
She came strange, so odd. She came onto his podcast, and they had just a weird like fun dynamic, I guess, where neither of them liked each other, but the conversation was funny. So they started a podcast, long story short. And it's called Frenemies. Okay. And every episode is just, it's kind of like our podcast where it seems to be they just kind of talk about the news and whatever they want.
It sounds less leftist based on their personalities.
It's not leftist. It's not political at all. Both of these people are like not political. Trisha especially has it's hard to tell how much of it is like her brand building and how much is authentic, but she really comes off as incredibly uninformed about everything, basically.
Most happy people are, yeah.
Yeah, it's like I she's an incredibly, I would say, controversial person because she's done um a lot of things for attention that are not great. I don't know. She came out as a trans man in one of her recent videos, but she still goes by like she her pronouns. But she claims that it's like that's a whole thing. But
So she's like not that many steps away from handcuffing herself to Twitter, like that kind of bullshit.
sort of, yeah. I mean, yeah, she's a whole thing. But what I've enjoyed about this podcast is that Trisha is pretty open about her like mental illnesses and stuff that she's got going on, and she has BPD, um, which is incredibly obvious based on I think everything that I've just said.
Yeah,
So
that fits.
yeah, it fits everything. And um, their podcast is basically in a constant state of like not continuing
Yeah.
because she's walked off of it in tears a couple of times because they just like he'll they just like start fights or she just gets mad at things. So it's incredibly just like messy and um I don't like it's like reality TV but actually real. I don't know. It's incredibly entertaining, but they uh where am I going with this? Anyway, she addresses like her mental illness issues, and then a couple episodes back, they actually got a therapist on to talk them through like their previous fight, which
Mm-hmm.
was very interesting.
That's
Um,
a I can kind of get down with that idea. That's an
yeah,
interesting take on it.
it's a very I think healthy. Maybe I don't know. I
Yeah,
think
maybe
it
not healthy as an idea overall, but
yeah
that single plan
yeah.
seems vaguely
Yeah,
healthy.
I'd say not like healthy as maybe an ongoing thing, but I think it is really good for people to be able to see like um to see the actual reality of what someone having like a breakdown looks like
Yeah.
and that it's not like cute. Like she villainizes herself pretty much every episode and everyone kind of hates her by the end. And all the comments are like in Ethan's favor because he's pretty good at like keeping a level head and dealing with her, but he's also doesn't know a lot about BPD or like how to
Yeah,
manage this.
from your description, to be fair, Ethan sounds like a fuckboy too, but
Yeah,
a
he's
likable fuckboy.
that's a good way, but yeah, he's not a very uh I don't know how to describe
Emotionally mature, maybe, based on the
there.
earlier thing you described.
That yeah, so that video was a while ago. There are some things that he's not very emotionally mature about, and people are constantly like canceling him over shit, but I he seems like a genuinely well-meaning person who
Okay.
like doesn't want to hurt people and is trying to learn. Um, but not he's not to the level of like a Joe Rogan who will like talk to Alex
Yeah.
Jones just to hear his side. Anyway, um,
With zero pushback on,
yeah,
let's say, the worst shit ever.
yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. But their dynamic has just been very interesting to watch, and I think it's healthy for people to be able to see not just like oh she's having a breakdown like drama 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 but they invite therapists on to kind of talk through what happened and why she reacted the way she did and like the therapist is kind of he's a celebrity therapist so he's kind of iffy but it's still interesting and I think good for people to see that and then see um, Ethan afterwards like trying to forgive her and move past it and it's it's nice trash to watch and I
Yeah.
basically just been watching that and incredibly involved in all of that for the past, I don't know, as long as they've been doing it.
For
So,
like context for people who were, I guess, listening to a lot of late night radio when they were in like junior high, like I did, this sounds like a modern version of Loveline in a weird way, where it's a not necessarily useful version of tackling issues that people want to learn about because younger people need to learn about stuff through people who aren't their parents most of the time, because parents are often not good at that shit. And where Loveline was a lot about, like, you know, learning about mostly mental illness and like sexual health via two right-wing assholes who just happen to be not horrible right-wing assholes yet.
yeah.
This sounds really similar. Like these people could be very likable, and I bet maybe less likable in 20 years. But the idea that they're there as a like outlet for a lot of this stuff and doing it in an entertaining way seems very similar to me to like things that have been around forever for people to like sort of involve themselves in for stuff like that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I wish I knew more about what they did, but the description of them, it sounds like it sounds like entertainment for sure.
It's definitely that. And it's hard to do it much justice by explaining, because I feel like messy is pretty much the all-encompassing word here. It's all very messy. Like, for extra context, though, part of the reason why the podcast started was because on the main like H3 podcast, which is Ethan and Hila's podcast, they were doing a Bachelorette series, and Trisha was the Bachelorette, and Hila, who is Ethan's wife, her brother applied as a joke, and his name is Moses, and Moses and Trisha like actually started dating, so they had to cancel the entire Bachelorette show. And now a lot of the Frenemies podcast is actually just about the progression of Trisha and Moses' relationship and how weird that is for Hila and Ethan.
This sounds like messy trash 100%.
It is, yeah, 100%, but it's so interesting. And Ethan and Hila, I don't agree with everything that Ethan says and like how he handles things, obviously, sometimes, but they seem like very just people who, for the most part, have their head on straight and are very like, they're very generous with Trisha, especially like dealing with her outbursts and stuff. And it's nice to see Trisha also be like, she's also like getting help for her problems too. Like she's going to therapy and stuff. So she's not just making spectacle for the sake of it. That's just kind of her life.
I think there's always room for people being just regular ass people out there. Like that. Yeah. That is entertaining for a reason, because you can actually relate to that, where you can't really relate to like
actual reality TV.
Bill Gates and Rashida Jones podcast.
Oh God, I forgot that was.
Yeah,
that's so annoying.
As if Michelle Obama's podcast wasn't like enough. We've also got that. I was reading the mission statement of the Bill Gates and Rashida Jones podcast, and it's like, we just want to bring a lot of the like startling and amazing things of modern life to you in person. It's like, wow, thanks guys. That's cool. So yeah, I think what you're watching actually sounds pretty fantastic.
It's been some very good escapism for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think that's the overlooked thing about like some of the earlier reality television before it started turning into like a big business, when it was just sort of like, we're going to try this like Road Rules garbage and see what happens. I didn't watch Road Rules until like a decade after it came out, because like I'm busy over here playing Mario. What am I going to watch Road Rules? But I knew it existed just by like osmosis, and some of that stuff is like closer to what you're describing too, of like before they got editors that were like really good at this stuff, and before they got like people who were like sort of making the things and things like The Bachelor happen so that they could have that effect. That stuff was actually way more interesting because it was just people being normal ass people.
Yeah.
And I think that stuff will always have a place in media, because we don't have public access like we used to. We kind of need normal life to be presented to us in some fashion. Even if it's from rich YouTubers, they're a lot more normal than fucking people who are, you know, out there on TV in most cases.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm very sucked into Trisha's whole thing. She's a very interesting person. Like, I'm gonna send you some videos and some materials. So I need somebody to care about this as much as I do.
Yeah, send me some reporting from the field so I can get a
Okay.
guided experience.
I need somebody because I posted about it to like my other Discord group, and the reception was not good.
Uh, oh boy. So speaking of reception not good, I'm not even going to talk about what this YouTube person or their video is. I got sent. So I took. Side note, I'm going to talk about this in a bit. I watched a lot of weird movies, including some great stuff. The good stuff is I watched the Batman from '89 and the Batman from '92.
Oh.
Which when I watched the '92 one, I was like, "This is the year that Bill Clinton was elected into office." I was like, "What the fuck?" But like, yeah, it is. As a reference point, the '89 Batman was on TV in a lady named Herma's house, which I think is non-specific enough to not matter. And that was the first movie that I remember being afraid of as a little kid. It was probably like, I don't know, like 8 years after it came out or something. I don't even know what year that would have been, but it was definitely like I was, side note, went to some weird places with some family. Seems like unstructured family time in my childhood. But Batman from '89 was on TV, and Jack Nicholson as the Joker shooting his boss to death was the thing I was afraid of. And I haven't really watched it that much since then, because like there's not a lot of places where you're like, let's watch Batman from '89.
Yeah.
But I watched it because I wanted to watch the two that Tim Burton did, to get like when Burton was like more interesting, get some of the like artsy movie context for it. And those movies are dope. But I took an intermission in the middle of the first Batman because I received a message from a friend of mine who is one of our more loyal podcast watchers. And it was a 45-minute long video of a guy prophesying the end of the world. It was recorded on like maybe the December 14th or something. I forget what day it was that he recorded it. Oh, by the way, the end of the world is today. So if you're seeing,
shit.
Yeah, sorry, if you're seeing this video online tonight, sorry about everything. But essentially, like to set the mood, this guy starts this video off by saying, "Now I'm sure that I'm not schizophrenic, but this is going to sound like I am." He's right.
I love it.
I've had some schizophrenic friends who one of the problems is that you oftentimes with even minor schizophrenic effects, one of the first things you can convince yourself of is that you're better without the medication. So like it's very like easy if you know schizophrenics to sort of have experienced the kind of logic and like point to point thinking that they can oftentimes get up to when they're like avoiding medications. And that is exactly what this sounds like. Not to say that this guy is, but he might be and just not know it yet. And his mom might be, as evidenced by this fucking thing he put out. So for starters, this is a video that is, I don't remember the title exactly. I specifically did not like or save this video. I just wanted the experience, and then I was out. It was 45 minutes. It was plenty of experience. It was called like End Times 2020. It wasn't End Times, but it was like something along those lines.
Yeah.
I think this guy does regular like sort of vlog type stuff solo on his YouTube. Also, through context, this guy seems like he's maybe 20, maybe. He doesn't really say what age he is at any point, and like I don't think that's like an indictment of this person, but he starts off saying like he doesn't seem to have a job of any type other than these like pretty low viewership videos. I'm actually impressed based on the viewership that I got it, much like I would be impressed if somebody was like, hey, I saw your podcast on one of the videos. It's like, oh, 10 viewers. Really? Wow. So he starts off saying like he broke up with somebody, but like he felt really okay about it. And I was like, okay, cool. And then and there was very little reference as to why this was sent to me when it was sent to me, and I was like, I better listen to the whole thing. So I'm sitting there with Michael Keaton in like a turtleneck paused on the TV, listening to this thing with like, he doesn't have video of himself. He just has a video of like slightly related imagery, and then when it's like him talking, it's a lot of like screensaver looking stuff. Relatively well done video production for like just ambient imagery to go along with his talking. But like, I'm always a little suspicious when people do videos that are like only vaguely related and video based. Like I watch a YouTuber named Sean who puts out a video like once a season. But he does incredibly researched history stuff that are usually like between 45 minutes and like 3 hours. This is like a 45-minute video of like, I believe this guy probably wrote down a pretty detailed bullet list at some point, which again kind of works into the schizophrenia thing of like, yes, you would record a dream very specifically. And there are like 5 dreams that are described in detail in this video. So this guy starts off by saying he's not schizophrenic, don't worry about that. And he's also he's never been religious, don't worry about that. But then he is weirdly okay with being broken up with, which is a weird thing to even have like as a big point if that's like a life thing that you've gone through, or like you're a little older where you've had actual disappointment in your life and you're not like just like, oh, anyway. So he starts off with that, and he starts saying like, and then I had a dream and it changed my life forever. But I believe he mentions this dream happened after he tried LSD, not for the first time, but for like the second time. So it's cool. I've done it before and this didn't happen. So this time it means something. And describes a dream in which he has a bunch of like revelatory very obviously religious imagery type things, but since it is also vaguely in a scientific realm, I guess that is why it's not just like Christian imagery. He then goes on to like very nonchalantly talk about getting way into studying just little pieces about selective religious things, not like going into like a theologic like actual deep dive, but just like, well, I saw this thing and I thought it was cool and I read some names and that seems important. Like it's that level of like important. But he's very good at having the tone of a person who's like really serious and this means something and like I can't believe I saw an angel in the middle of the sun, but like what he's describing is such a common image of like for reference, he talks about a dream where he dives into the sun and then he sees a six-winged orb, and it's like not only is that a common image for like seraphim and stuff like that in tons of art, but that's also like a common image in like Bayonetta and a bunch of like Final Fantasies and stuff. Like that's not at all like notable, but he goes on about it like it's like a really big deal. But he starts making these connections, and that's why I actually wanted to talk about this video, because his connections are like a really concrete example of why all of us being stuck in our houses while the government does nothing, I guess, welcome to your Malarkey Minute. I don't really have a Malarkey Minute, even though there's plenty of Malarkey Minute stuff to go over. I just didn't look it up this week because I was too busy and I didn't feel like it.
Mine can be Malarkey Minute. It's vague.
Okay.
Tangentially related.
Well, let me just prep it. There you go.
Oh god.
Buster Brown. That's about how our Malarkey Minute's going to go anyway. So it will not be a big one. Anyway, so he starts talking about how he is getting really into Gnosticism, which he then goes on to describe it as like not really what Gnosticism is, as being like, well, this is like a Christianity that was like too cool. It's like,
well,
he also describes it as being like the Wikipedia definition, which on Wikipedia I think it is described as like a post Christianity like sect of Christianity that was just really into polytheism. But that's like only sort of like halfway to what Gnosticism is. Like Gnosticism, it's a bunch of like various, the reason why it's not called Christianity, the reason why it's not called like Gnostic Christianity either, is because it's a bunch of shit that was kind of disparate, including like alchemy type of shit that was like religious but like smaller and was kind of combined together into Christianity. But a lot of people just ignore the part where it existed before any of that stuff came along because like, well, that kind of disproves a lot of our religion, so we don't want to talk about it. Anyway, so it's very Wikipedia Gnosticism that he's going over, and it's a lot of like imagery that if, say, you read through some internet descriptions of what that stuff is, you might just kind of like turn that into your own version of reality. The thing that I found really funny, because I've recently had a phone stop working, is he makes a big deal out of like, and then my phone broke. And what he describes as, I think, being essentially the Metatron, told me, don't get another one. So.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
So he doesn't have a phone anymore, I guess. I don't know. I don't care. But I thought that was a really like, this seems like a lot of importance for something that just kind of happened. The troubling thing is that he then goes and accounts having like discussions with his mom about like the dreams he's having and stuff like that, and she's like very like, yeah, you should, this is important, you should go with this. And he starts describing a lot of like you know, in Paranormal Activity style movies, there's always the like, I went to the library, I looked up in the demonology book that the library had the demons that I was worried about, and it had like some specific quotes that were definitely what I was talking about. That is essentially the exact thing that happens through his description of it in this thing. So he's very much painting himself as like this like researcher of important dreams. He also keeps doing drugs throughout and talking about how that's like actually how like this is like working out. And by the end, he comes to the conclusion that one, well, I can't tell you guys what's actually going to happen. I was told, I know exactly what's going to happen, but I can't tell you what's going to happen. Two, it's going to be the end of the world starting on December 21st, right now. But also, it might not look like the end of the world. All that I'm allowed to tell you is that Jesus is back now on the 21st. So, like, hey, there you go. And you might never know that it was the end of the world, but Jesus is definitely here on the 21st, and it's going to be, like, different. And it kind of, like, the troubling thing is how many people, especially compared to how many people actually viewed that video, in the comment section were like, I've had a very similar experience, and thank you for thank you for being the mouthpiece for this shit. Obviously not, wording it as I would word it, but I just want you to know that one, it's the end of the world, and I'm sorry about that.
Well, what are you gonna do?
Jesus is back. I'm sorry about that too, because that doesn't sound great.
Me too.
Unless he was actually going to show up and be the myth Jesus, which I'm pretty in favor of. He seems cool. And I have to imagine, just based on probability, that there's like 1,000 people doing this exact same shit out there. Anyway, that's hopefully more interesting than describing my own dreams or something. I'm not going to describe the dreams he talks about because they're all very dumb. He also, everything he talks about is like my mind was blown stuff that sounds like I'm back in the second term of art school, of just like, yes, things can be interesting if you look at them. God damn it. He also describes a lot of like concepts that are just like, I've never heard of this before. Isn't this interesting? People who definitely haven't heard of this before. By the end, it has become somewhat clear that what he's describing having taken place in detail is maybe a year of time, like all during quarantine. And his description of it seems to be, he broke up with whoever he was seeing in high school, and then he's going to college now. Like, he's going to head into college. So it turns it into an even weirder thing of like, so you're just sort of talking about this pretty like small amount of time, all things considered, in which you became increasingly like weirdly religious about certain things, started doing drugs and getting weird dreams about like they are odd dreams, I guess. And my favorite part of the whole thing is he made a piece of art. This is the like Pepe Silva like point to the wall. He made a piece of art. The piece of art is the Tree of Life, but the bottom is a skull instead of a Sephiroth. That's like the whole difference. He has like two like angelic figures next to it. He makes a slight point after he's been showing it for a bit that's like, this is all like clip art that I took off the internet and put together. Because like, he's not an artist, and it's just like, yeah, no, we get it. Like, you made a collage, good job. He then goes through describing how, well, here's the proof of everything I'm saying, because this came to me I was in a trance when I made this, which among the many things, that is again one of those like, yeah, you should see somebody about this. I'm really upset that your mom is supporting you in your like vision quest right now.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
He goes over saying like, in this thing, you can make an ankh, a cross, It even fits the Tree of Life. And it's like, you just made the Tree of Life picture. Of course it fits all that shit. What do you think artists are doing in the past? They're like doing what you're doing. You're just like unmaking little bits of it. It's so annoying. Anyway, so that stuff's out there. If you are an adventurous YouTuber and you want to find the end of the world predictions, I bet there's going to be another video soon. Maybe he'll tell us what he wasn't going to tell us about once he's decided what that means himself, because I bet he hasn't yet. But it was extremely entertaining, and I really enjoyed watching it.
How long was this?
45 minutes.
Wow.
But it's
lot.
The thing that makes it so good is that it's spoken like a horror story. The way he is talking about it, I thought at the end he was going to be like, and that's my entry to the short story contest. But he's not. He's very serious, which is troubling, but still entertaining. And that maybe not in the same way as your real life stuff, but definitely in the filter of trash that I tend to take in media. My friends clearly know what that filter is, because I did enjoy that quite a bit. Also, the friends I got it from, I bet they were very high and sitting on a couch together watching it, because that's the perfect place to be imbibing this particular media.
That sounds like a terrifying state of mind to be while watching that.
They're used to it. I bet they were sitting there with a tiny dog enjoying themselves.
Okay.
According to them, they kept pausing it and talking about all the things that he got wrong, because they also enjoy art and like sort of Gnostic ideas and things. He also goes into a whole section in the middle where he's like, he read a total of like 2 books by Jung, which based on the time period that this takes place over, seemingly, and like the age of the person, seemingly, probably skimmed them, but maybe read through them. Who knows? I agree. And that whole that image, that person is almost making me nostalgic for art school. That like somebody sitting there making like the most boring thing you've ever seen, but with like a little angel figure or something, and like turning to you and being like, "This is the most important thing I've ever thought." It's like, yeah, buddy, keep going.
That reminds me of design school too, when you make something in about 10 minutes and then you have to explain all of the grand meaning behind it, or invent some grand meaning.
I made it was literally like just a design thing for a critique that I had like some vague idea of what I was aiming for, but it was not like, it was I need something for this class. I have been working on things that are more important to me, / probably played some like World of Warcraft or something. And I'm done with this project. It's not worth enough for me to worry. And it had like some concentric circles in it. I think I was working with like some negative space stuff just for me.
Yeah.
A guy who would do this with all kinds of stuff made this like argument that was like at least like 3 to 5 minutes long for my work in critique, having to do with like, it's just reminding me that like art is like a life is like a dartboard, and it's just like, yep, you got it. You got my work figured out. I'm glad that got through to you. Best part of all critiques is when somebody creates all the meaning that you apparently had in your work.
Oh yeah, I like that.
It really makes it easier for you to like get through that class.
Mm-hmm.
If you can keep from laughing, because I did have a problem in college. I wasn't inured to like how weird people could be all the time yet. And I did occasionally have trouble like keeping a straight face with some of that stuff. Yeah, a lot of that of just like, that sounds right.
Indeed. Cat, why are you so mad?
Isn't that cat just mad all the time?
He wants to be let out. Why are you doing that? That's so creepy. Stop it. He does this thing where when he's mad at me, this is you know how I've said this room is haunted? This is a haunted room thing. This is weird. When he's mad at me, and specifically when he's mad at me, he will find a location in the room where he can look in the mirror and look at my reflection and like make eye contact, but only through the mirror. He won't like turn around and glare at me. He'll like find me in the mirror and glare at my reflection. It's so
he probably thinks that's the good one over there that's gonna let him out.
maybe. Do you want out? Do I need to let you out?
I didn't hear a response.
All right. That's because he's doing this.
Well, yeah.
I think it means I must let him out. Okay. You've won. You've creeped me out enough.
Let that cat out.
Be right back. Yes, I heard you. Yeah. Yes. I remembered some snacks that I had stashed.
Oh yeah?
My chips. My secret chips. Oh. Why hello? Is this a sign that you're also upset with me?
Let me out!
That's such a weird thing for a cat to pick up on. I don't know.
I keep messing up my lighting.
There was a few minutes where it was like I could see the very obvious flicker of the fake fire on your face, but then it went away.
Yeah, there's definitely a fake fire across the room from me, so.
I wish I had a fake fire going. I should have put one on.
Can you show people that blanket? Because that's a good. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Get that buffalo chip.
Buffalo blue chips. This is the blanket. It was another Christmas gift from a friend last year, and she knitted it with needles that she told me are like this big around.
Nice.
Or maybe she did it by hand.
That's a good
I think she
crochet.
Yes. I love this blanket. It's kind of perfect because it does the blanket thing, but when you get too hot, you can like stick your feet through the holes.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's better because for the temperature level, for some reason, is dictated by what is covering my feet or is not covering my feet.
I always have like I got too hot easily, so I have like I have like 3-ish blankets of varying thickness, but the further you get towards the bottom of the bed, they'll cut off, and then by the end, it's often just a blanket like that kind of covers. It can be complicated keeping temperature correct.
Yeah, I usually find myself waking up with one sock on and one sock off, and that seems to be like the balance, the perfect balance for me.
That's the perfect balance. I will say, I can't imagine wearing socks to sleep in. I feel like I would just die in the middle of the night with socks on.
I'm perpetually cold, so I think that's part of it.
I specifically, even if I'm wearing very little clothing, will not take my socks off unless like something happens to them until I'm going to go to bed, because having no socks on is like, it's time for bed. Like that's like how I interpret it. So the idea of like it's like it feels the same in my head of like getting into bed and wearing jeans, but I have gone camping and worn jeans to sleep in, but I've still taken my socks off or I cannot go to sleep. That's very different from my
Huh.
Mhm.
That is odd. That is not at all how my brain I have like when I do my laundry, I will have to fish like 10 single socks out of the bottom of my bed because I always take off the one sock. And that's why I'm always losing my matching socks. They're all in
Interesting.
my bed. Yeah, I can't fathom going to bed not in socks. My feet would get like cold.
Oh.
I don't know what else I was gonna say, but just cold sounds unpleasant.
I feel like somehow we are the most stereotypical we've ever been in this conversation. But yeah, I'm not a. I mean, I'm not a big like sleeping clothes person in the first place, but socks
Yeah.
are definitely the first one to go. I've with longer hair, I've had to get used to trying to know what to do with hair when I go to bed now, because I haven't had to deal with longer hair since I was like I don't know 15 or something.
It's hard. I'm still trying to figure it out.
I really enjoy doing a loose, horrible but loose, top of the head something because I have an issue where because I'm tall and beds fucking aren't ever. There's like no bed I've ever been in where I've been like I fit here. It's always like I get my feet up onto the bed even just a little and then I lay back and hit my head into the ceiling or the wall. Um, and with the little like hair capture at the top, I'm still cool. I have like the shaved part exposed, but also I have like whiskers to tell me when I get too close to the wall, so I don't hit my head anymore with that. So that's been
There
my
you
tactic.
go.
Also, my ideal hairstyle would be the weekend if I could ever do that. But since like my hair is just not even close to that kind of volume or anything, I have to settle for like weird little hair sculptures, which I still like more than boring hair. But it's definitely I'm getting used to like what I can do with it more over time.
I like the sound of hair sculptures.
I have received images from multiple people about snow.
No.
Yep. Several people have now sent me pictures of the snow. So get ready for it. In Washington, it's our one day of the year. Or I would say that 10 years ago. Now it's probably gonna snow for a couple weeks, a little bit. But it's too wet outside.
It sounds like you guys have probably gotten more snow than we have. We haven't gotten that much snow at all. It snowed like briefly at the beginning of last week, and it stuck around for maybe 2 or 3 days.
It
Now
hasn't snowed. Raining. I don't think it snowed here yet at all. I think we are experiencing it for the first time this year right now. Which is weird because I have the window open in here and in my bedroom, and I'm very warm still. So maybe I'm just.
It's the socks.
Yeah, I have socks on. Maybe that's the problem. God damn it. I'd add this shirt definitely isn't it because this shirt's like see-through.
Does your shirt say hustle on it?
Hard to say. Yeah, this is my.
I just had to make sure.
I think this was a Christmas gift. No, this was a birthday gift. In COVID, I believe. Everybody knows that I'm a big proponent of hustling. So It's good to rep that at least once in a while. It's one of those shirts that's like the material is thin enough to where wearing it to do anything is a little bit like, don't need to. But it's very comfortable for like just hanging out. It also goes well with my now very familiar pairs of basketball shorts that are my normal attire day to day. So
there you go.
Yeah. I always knew I played basketball for a reason. It's to have shorts when COVID hit.
There you go. I have one pair of basketball shorts, and I enjoy wearing them very much. They're very comfy.
Basketball shorts are the secret shame and secret best clothing of most people, I think.
Yeah, I actually, if I could just dress like Adam Sandler for the rest of my life, that sounds good. That sounds comfy.
Wear like basketball shorts, big thick shoes, and a t-shirt, but then
it goes down to
like
my knees.
It's sort of Adam Sandler / Kevin Smith look, but then Kevin Smith wears thicker shirts because he's up in the north parts of the U.S. I think, so he wears hockey jerseys and basketball shorts. But then every once in a while, wear a suit. That's like the Adam Sandler.
The balance.
Once every couple of years, wear a suit, but the rest of the time, just wear garbage. And I'm into that.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think we should also make a line of T-shirts that are like anti-hustle. Anti-hustle culture.
Let me note like, that down.
Pro lazy and doing nothing culture. That's how I'm feeling lately.
I think that's a decent route to take. I'll put that in my do this T-shirts section for reference.
I'll come up with actual sentences you can put on shirts at some other point. But for right now, all I know is that I want a shirt that is anti-hustle culture.
I think it might be. This might not be useful to anybody listening to this. I think I could illustrate text you do, or vice versa, for a lot of stuff with some of these terrible shirts that we probably have ready to go at some point. This is dangerously masking the tequila in here. Well, I feel like the long section of this, we could call it the Malarkey Minute on my end when we get to it. Do you want to do your Malarkey Minute information before I get into any of these terrible movies or other terrible movies or things having to do with streaming, etc.?
Sure. Okay. So I guess it counts as a Malarkey Minute. It's kind of Malarkey Minute.
It's a Malarkey Minute, Buster Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Wall Street Journal published an op-ed the other day from some jerk who was like, "Doctor in the White House? I think not." And like normally I don't care about this at all. I obviously okay, let me gather my thoughts here. So there are a lot of reasons that people did not appreciate this op-ed, and to summarize it, basically, it was very sexist and demeaning to Jill Biden, basically telling her, "You haven't delivered a baby, so don't call yourself a doctor."
It was also very like I don't know, like besides being just very sexist, obviously, it was also like unnecessary in every sense. Like there was no target on Jill Biden.
Yes, and that's I think kind of what I mean by like normally I could care less about a comment like this because it's kind of just like your crazy uncle. I don't know why they publish it. Your crazy uncle on Facebook just being like, woman can't be president. Not that's what this is about, but just unnecessary. It's so unnecessary and stupid, in fact, that when I first read about like the people getting mad about it, I was more mad that people are getting mad about it and giving it attention
Right.
than anything. But then what ended up happening is that people, in coming to Jill's defense, started posting photos of Melania and like doing a side-by-side comparison, being like,
Okay.
oh, so you'll take your like porn star, I don't know if she ever did porn, but it was like a photo of her in a bikini with diamonds or whatever, and then Jill doing some sort of scholarly thing, like side-by-side photos. Like,
Yeah.
what do you want, the scholar or the slut for your first woman? And I'm like, okay, that's not right either.
No.
That was frustrating. I don't understand why people have to uh, do that. Unnecessary.
The first
Uh,
lady, I don't have any like pro opinions of a first lady really, but they're also not Pokemon. We don't need to like fight
yeah,
them.
I don't. Yeah, there's no beef there.
Yeah.
Melania doesn't care about the poor. I feel bad for Melania. She's not great.
I don't think I'd have
Probably.
anything to talk to her about, but I don't have
No.
like ill will towards her as a human.
I mostly pity her because she
Yeah.
clearly put herself in a situation where she thought that she was going to be set for the rest of her life.
Not only that, I think she assumed, rightfully so, that Donald Trump would be dead soon when she
Yeah.
married him.
Yeah. She made a gamble. It was like high risk, high reward, and she
Uh-huh.
has all of the risk is hers. That's the only thing that she's
No.
gotten out of this. And I mostly feel bad for her. And I why why are people so mean to women who are just like attractive? That's stupid. But
Why are people mean to women for whatever reason they can find? I don't know.
yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. Like you said about Jill thing. It's a stupid thing to be mad about. It's like you're creating a problem that doesn't exist. And like, and I think even in the op-ed, there's something that this guy says about like the origin of the word doctor is rooted in like medical shit, and so we shouldn't even be calling people who are not in the medical field doctors, which isn't true actually.
Right.
Like the word doctor comes from teacher, which is what she is.
Yeah.
So like you're not even correct.
I mean, I know somebody who is, I think, about to get their doctorate in art, and why would you not use the term doctor once you have a fucking doctorate? But beyond that, yeah, like it's as far as I know, a doctor is a reference to your ability to teach other people because at least you're not necessarily a master of something, but that's a designation like that. It has nothing to do with like physicianship. That's just sort of where we've
Yeah,
used it lately.
that's just where the language has gone. It's like unnecessary, which is why I did not care about it at all until people started being like, well, you can either have a smart first lady or a hot first lady. You can't have both.
You can
Um,
have a doctor of nothing or a doctor being a slut.
I would like a doctorate in that.
I would I would take that program for sure. I would love to know
Yeah.
more.
Yes, sign me up for that, please.
I have I
I
have
will go into debt
anxiety.
for that one.
I have anxiety and I would love to know how to be a slut, please. Thank you. An expert, yes.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my malarkey minute in defense of Jill Biden, who I could take or leave, honestly, but
Yeah, I don't give a shit about Jill Biden
I don't
either.
care.
I care
But
about as much about Jill Biden as I did about Melania, which is none.
they're a
Um,
person. That's
yep, they
that's
sure are.
That's all I've got.
I have a slight bit to add to the Malarkey Minute, which is both. I'm sure there's more a point. Oh, actually, no. There's one thing we should mention, which is fucking Buttigieg is in the cabinet now.
Oh
As
yeah,
transportation,
right?
uh, which is just fucking ridiculous.
I did see a pretty good meme about this that I will now tell you about verbally, which
Is
is
it him jamming the food into his mouth? Because that's the meme I like.
no, it's not. It's I saw a meme that was a video of someone playing on Rainbow Road in Mario Kart.
Uh-huh.
And the caption was, "This is like what all the roads are going to look like now that Pete is that." That's the joke.
It's accurate.
I liked it.
Here's the other joke sent to your phone. It's just Buttigieg just cramming food into his mouth.
Opportunities I don't deserve. That's a good one.
Yeah,
I'm saving that.
It's him going like full barbecue on what appears to just be like a turkey sandwich, because that's how normal people eat.
That's vicious. Like he's getting
he's
in there.
Fucking tearing into that. That's the kind of vitality we can expect from America's first openly gay cabinet member, or whatever the fuck.
Yay.
Even though he didn't come out of the closet for a long time because he thought it would like hurt his chances with politics or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, that's the past. That guy's a piece of shit. He actively was a huge admirer as a young person of Bernie Sanders, and then his West Wing love took over, and if you need more proof that the West Wing has poisoned a lot of our political discourse, he was like the head of the West Wing fan club in his college and had constant, I think it's like weekly viewings of West Wing stuff in his
like parties
or whatever. Yeah. And between him and Rahm Emanuel being like brought into the fucking cabinet, along with the vice president under the president, who had an entire writing staff that was a West Wing fan club. It's just fucking insane, like how much that has affected. Aaron Sorkin has written the morals of our like politics for Democrats specifically, and it's like the worst lessons we can take of being like, don't have any strong feelings. Just lie about the things that you know people want to hear, and that's where you get. And that's the other part of the Malarkey Minute is within like a week or two's time, we had I'll call it a whistleblower, even though people don't care enough about it to call it that. The person who had like the audio clip of Joe Biden saying that defund the police is the reason why the election was close and we have to get rid of that idea in our politics, in addition to Obama coming out and doing an interview in which he said that defund the police is actually a horrible idea for the exact same reason, because it'll scare people away. You want to rebrand it and make it something which
palatable.
This is now, which is now me, in my own words, defund the police is the thing that it's called. One, because that's what people latched onto, but two, besides the fact that that's what people believe in, that's what people believe in. Like, defund the police says that because that's the honest take of what people want, and the people who get behind it are supporting it. A lot of people, myself included, believe that defunding the police ideally would be abolishing the police. It's already been tapered back to be the version that people would be more comfortable with. But like, the idea of being dishonest about what we actually want, because that'll make it more palatable, is exactly the problem that Democrats have right now, period, other than being horribly centrist and actually wanting the exact same shit that Republicans wanted via Reagan's era. Like, it doesn't matter. It's all kind of trash for that stuff, but try convincing anybody's parents of that who aren't groovy enough to like fucking get it already. Anyway, I think that's the Malarkey Minute, is that our fucking West Wing trash version of politics is continuing to build.
Continuing on. Was that the same like audio clip where he said that? Was that the same one where he said something to the effect of, "I'm the white boy who's done the most of any"? He had like a Trump line. Did you hear this?
He's had a few Trump lines. He is honestly not that different in terms of his like way of governance.
Yeah, like completely unsurprising, but he said something that was so right out of like Trump's book. It was like, it was essentially, I have done the most for the Black community that anyone's ever done since Abraham Lincoln kind of level. Which that's a whole other sentence to unpack, but
yeah, it's a pretty stark contrast to the not me, us that Sanders was running under, which is like what you want a president to run under, and instead it's fucking this weird, I'm a paragon of morality and I will be listened to. That is the same problem with Trump.
Yeah, some of it that I have heard is coming across as like the very narcissistic, which you have to have some element of, I'm sure. But he also said something to the effect of like, I didn't even want to run, but I had to get the other guy out. And it's like, well, no, but some of the phone calls that are being leaked are starting to get into that. They're starting to sound kind of like, if you've ever been around people with like Alzheimer's, or they're like starting to kind of lose their like mental faculties, they just get frustrated fast.
I mean,
and it's starting to sound like that.
I'm not a huge tweeter, but did you see the retweet from Klippenstein that I put up?
No.
Which, if you don't follow him, you should. Ken Klippenstein, or Klippenstein, I'm not totally sure. He had a retweet of, I think, a tweet he put up like 3 or 4 years ago that was in reference to the fact that people who worked in like the White House, people who worked in the Washington, D.C. pharmacy were filling medications for Alzheimer's for people who worked like in Congress and the White House. Nice. And he just put up a thing saying like, I think about this a lot still, because it's never been talked about really, but like that shouldn't be allowed. Like,
yeah,
it's not an indictment of like your abilities. It's a like, you're not in good health to be doing work that requires you to do this.
Yeah, and why would you want to be doing that when you could be like living the remainder of your actual life doing other things? Like you're not helping to your full ability. But yeah, someone else posted a screen cap of like looking up Nancy Pelosi on Wikipedia, and it just said born in 1949 or something, and I was just like, oh my god.
Yeah, there's some old fuckers doing everything in the country.
Dinosaurs. It should not be allowed. Hi.
Well, and it's also an issue of, oh, you got some company?
I do have some company. Are you gonna come say hi? She smells all my food. Hello. Big company.
It is big company.
You're tilting all of my things.
Is this a retriever? What is this?
Yes, this is the gold.
What are we working with here?
This is Lainey. She's ruining all of my. Are you going to say hello? Hey, there's the face. Briefly.
I got a close up of half the face, but it probably won't come across in the
probably
the
not.
final video. It is a good-looking retriever, though. I will say that.
Move your head.
Yeah, that's a pretty good-looking dog.
Yeah, she's funny. You're distracting me, though. Alright, she's just gonna chill here, I guess.
Nick wanted to tell me that it's snowing outside, so he's now the 5th person who has shown me an image of snow in the last hour. So it's definitely snowing in Washington.
For sure, we can confirm.
It's a Christmas miracle.
I heard.
I'm drinking some good piss over here.
Oh, is that the...
It's tequila and the tea. The tea's bad,
Yeah.
and the tequila is a lot, but together, all right. Yeah. How do we set up a retriever cast? What kind of earbuds does a retriever need to actually hear what's going on?
Good question. I could just unplug, but there might be echo.
Yeah, that probably isn't a good idea. We get a little bit of echo anyway.
I'll put you in her ear for a second. Come here, give me your head.
Hello, dog. Please don't eat this earbud. You look confused.
Yeah, she's confused. I don't think she heard.
Oh, that's okay. How old is this dog?
I want to say maybe like 1.5.
Okay, so not an elderly dog.
No, she's baby.
Dog is baby. Good
Dog is baby. She's big baby.
Well, there's no transition for this. I'm starting to do some so at work the printer, the actual like what's
the press.
Yeah, the pressman. God.
Dog, you've derailed everything.
I'm like already not that with it. The pressman for 3 weeks in a row brought in food boxes from a church that is like, I guess, doing like thousands of food boxes for people near where he lives in like Renton or something. Black Diamond. And I really appreciate the food boxes, but like I am one person and like Nick is only here for like 3 days over the course of this, like the majority of this month. And getting food boxes that are like designed for like a sizable family 3 weeks in a row means that I'm like barely hanging on to like making sure this food gets dealt with. And I already had to give like almost a box's worth of it away. But what I've ended up with is like 5 containers of cottage cheese. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do with this. And then I realized I can use cottage cheese in most baked goods and in like eggs and in all this stuff. So I'm going on some cottage cheese adventures. And I think that's going to end up including the Lucky Charms cake that I'm hopefully going to have for people to see next week.
Interesting.
Featuring, of course, past guest of the podcast, bag of Lucky Charms marshmallows.
I like that you've labeled and dated it.
Yeah,
so its future is determined.
I do a lot of reminder notes on things just to like not be an asshole and leave it somewhere and forget about it.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for some of that because it's a flavor I can see working perfectly in the place of things like buttermilk, but it also has like, I think it ends up having about twice the total milk fat of 2% milk, which means it's probably going to make some slightly denser, but also like very like not quite to cream cheese level of like rich cake, but like somewhere in the middle between just milk and something like a cream cheese, because I want to say cream cheese is like a pretty relatively high milk fat percentage, and that's
The dragon tea treating you right?
I guess so. I think it's pretty high in like the milk fat. Like it is a
Yeah.
solid block of cream cheese. And this comes in at like 4 to 5% milk fat, which seems about in the middle for like keeping something a little fluffier but still very rich. Or do we have a dog cameraman?
No, that was actually my foot accidentally.
Having to whip
Dog
those
is-
socks off because, or get those socks on rather. Sorry.
The dog has left.
My wrist pad for my mouse is a very thick woolen sock.
Ooh,
I
that's
also
my favorite kind of sock.
I have these from like Alaska and stuff because you kind of gotta. But
Yeah.
I have another one of these that I use because you can stretch it out, and I put my tablet in it when I travel.
That's a good
Because
idea.
I don't have like a case, but it can slide into the sock. Anyway, I'm excited to try cooking with that. It's kind of along the same lines of like video games I like, where it's you're gonna give me something that I'm not gonna be sure how to use, and the fun of a lot of games is like finding all
Figuring
the ways
out.
you can use
Yeah.
it. Which I ended up getting in a sale, the Zelda game from like 3 years ago now. And that game is all about that, Breath of the Wild. It's everything in that game breaks, so you end up having like a constantly shifting like difficulty. And sometimes you can be doing the most difficult things in the game with the worst equipment, and I like that kind of thing.
That's fun.
That's kind of what the kitchen feels like now that I have no space in the freezer or fridge, but still need to make food that I want to eat. Who knows what kind of difficulties I'll meet on my way.
Yeah. Well, that's fun. I really like cottage cheese, and it feels like a very versatile thing. Like I feel like you could put that in a lot of things.
I've never really considered cottage cheese that much, so I'm happy to have the excuse to now.
Yeah, it reminds me of my grandparents because that's kind of the only time I ever used to eat it was going to my grandparents' house. They just always had it. I can't remember the last time that I've had just cottage cheese.
I'm actually curious then, if you're a cottage cheese user, what have you done with cottage cheese?
I have, I guess the only real things that I've done with cottage cheese is just like add random things to it and eat it kind of like a cereal almost. Sounds kind of gross, but
not really.
like apples or I don't know, raisins. The ratios are a little precarious, but
I was considering trying to make overnight oats with cottage cheese and like frozen blueberries or something, because it seems like it would have enough liquid to still like steep the oats overnight.
Yeah. You know what would be interesting is a savory overnight oats with cottage cheese.
I could do like salt and pepper, but what would I do with stuff to put in it, I wonder?
I'm considering this because I'm thinking of what would taste good cold.
I have hot dogs from the food boxes.
There you go. Yeah.
I don't know.
What would mix well with the
smoked salmon.
I want smoked salmon, sausage. I would like a sausage.
Seems like now you're just thinking about things you would
I'm
like.
thinking pizza, honey.
One of the things I've been doing for the food in these boxes is smoked salmon potatoes.
Mm,
I've
yeah.
been making baked potatoes, splitting them in half, and basically turning them into a potato sandwich with like some butter and then cheese and smoked salmon, and then like heating them
Ooh.
under a burner for a little bit, and it's good. It's got a lot of like char to the outer crust of it, so it feels very like campsitey. Uh, and I have it in like tin foil, so the butter melts out of it, and then it's sort of like the sauce, I guess.
Yeah.
Uh, but
Ooh.
it's
That sounds
really fucking good.
real good. Ooh. This is making me hungry.
It's also like carbs just like all day. So I've been having to like I can't eat a lot of these, but like they're real good. But cottage cheese eggs might go really well with some of the baked potato and stuff, and then I could still add smoked
Oh yeah.
salmon to that.
Yeah. I like the combination of a baked potato with cottage cheese. I've never had that, but that sounds like basically the same thing as sour cream,
Yeah.
just like better texture.
Yeah, because sour cream I do not like. So sour cream is one of those things that I'll eat a sour cream infused frosting or cake. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of
I like
like
that.
I'll use a little bit of mayonnaise in like something salad, and that's okay. But as soon as it becomes its own element in a food, I'm just not that. I don't like a slightly sour white cream that much.
Yeah. I could understand. I'm that way with the Cool Whip. I don't
Yeah,
mind like sour cream by itself. I actually enjoy mayonnaise.
the
I
slamming sour cream out of the bin.
I could. I don't love it, but like I could eat sour cream by itself. Mayonnaise is disgusting to eat by itself, obviously.
That is true.
Cool Whip I could not do by itself.
I feel like I tried to do that as a kid because I was like, this is so good on pie. And then I tried to do it, and it's like, this is not a
This is
food.
not a thing by itself. No. No, I don't. My family uses Cool Whip in like Jello dessert things that are very
Yeah.
like uh Midwestern recipes that have been handed down. But
My family does a Cool Whip recipe that I believe has Midwestern roots that I love. That is a orange and cranberry salad with like nuts and stuff.
that's what mine
That
does.
is the correct Cool Whip usage. Most other usages of it are like maybe a little bit of a topping. But I have the same fucking thing. I know a lot of people who are like, yeah, sometimes I would just eat out of the fucking frosting like tin.
Yeah,
That's
I
not a
can't.
food. Yeah.
I can only do that with savory things. I can't do that with sweet things.
Yeah, I
Um,
would rather eat a tall can of just tuna than fucking slam like frosting. Not without something to like
yeah.
deaden the sweetness of it.
I couldn't do that. That's interesting. My family's like Jello dessert recipe is very similar. I'm now realizing I haven't had this for a very long time, but it's a yellow or not yellow, like orange Jello with
Yeah.
mandarin oranges, and then I think Cool Whip, and then cheddar cheese on top.
Interesting. I've never
Yeah.
had cheese and orange, I don't think. Does it work
I
though?
I remember it being good. I think the last time I had it, I must have been a child. It's
You're
been
at
so
your parents' place. You should demand satisfaction.
I think actually, since I'll be seeing them, it would be pretty funny to just make it
Yeah.
and bring this horrid like Jello dessert that nobody's
If
seen for 10 years.
if you make that, I need to see it. I want to
I
know
will
what
send
this
you pictures.
texture is. I want to know what the fuck this cheese jello substance looks like. Uh,
Yeah, there
it
are two.
sounds like something I would find in a cookbook of ill repute.
Yeah, it looks like a Great Depression kind of era mixture. Um, but Yeah, my family has 2 Jello dessert recipes, and that's one of them. And then the other one is like actually very, very good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they have any like fish aspic, like suspended food kind of things?
No, not that I
Those
can
are the
remember.
craziest Depression era foods where it's like we made a metal mold that looks kind of like a salmon, but we put a fillet of trout in a jello mold with it, and then we made like flavorless aspic and made like a salad in the mold too. So it's like suspended like fish and
Ah,
like all this salad fixins, but it's like in a mold that's clear that looks like a fish, and then you
mhm.
slice it and give pieces of it to people.
I've seen pictures of this, but I've
It's
never seen it in real life.
it's just not food. Like, and I understand like it could be more filling to have the gelatin there, but like how
You
about
think
just
so?
have boring food? It's good. Like just do it.
Ugh,
I can't
I
think of
don't.
many foods when I'm like going through things that I really want to eat that I would want to eat more than a fucking potato with just stuff jammed in it. Like that's
Yeah.
why I ended up making these. The idea of making it like fancy just to eat it is like unless you're entertaining, I guess yeah, bad taste, but I guess I get it. But yeah.
But is that making it fancy though? Just encasing something in Jello in a
Is it?
in a fish bowl? I guess it depends on whether it's the Great Depression or not.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So I have a note here. I feel like that these two notes I'll mention because they're here. I might have to hold on to some of these movie descriptions because I do want to get into my Disney and video game bukkake. Anyway, so um, so uh, the same person who sent me that video of the person having a mental breakdown and loving it. Um, they also let me know a little bit before that they finally quote trudged through the 9 hours of Twilight talk.
I saw
um,
God
I'm
bless
really
this person.
I'm really pleased that it had that effect because that's exactly the effect it should have. Uh, I almost wanted to bring up new Twilight things in this one just to spite them when they got here, but I'm sure that'll happen naturally in the future.
Oh yeah.
Uh, and then I just wanted to mention briefly that Disney Plus, Amazon, mostly those two places have been editing scenes out of movies or getting versions of movies that are edited um, as the version of movie that is available. And I
Mm,
think that's kind of gross. And I'm kind of worried about the implications of the future of editing movies to like re-release digitally where nobody owns them. uh, I don't want media to start getting things removed from them for like
yeah.
public consumption. Anyway, the reason why I was thinking about that a lot, I sent you this podcast, but they go over it a bit in that in Avatar. So my big problem with Avatar, it's a dumb movie. It's got like a lot of spectacle. I agree with like some basic points, but like it's a movie that is just sort of for people who don't want to like think too hard about stuff. And I think that's a really good thing to make when you want things that have a message to be listened to. But I also think that like Avatar has a ton of problems.
Yeah.
Um, but one of my favorite problems, and the one that people already acted like I was crazy for talking about, even though it's real and it's exactly what they're presenting, in that movie, and I probably yelled about this early on in the podcast because I always yell about this. The whole point of them having a connected world and them having a weird fucking ponytail on these blue creatures uh, is that at the end of that ponytail, there are like connecting what ends up being their sex organs. They are how they mentally communicate with each other. They will put those together in order to like have their blue person version of sex. That's like part of it. They also use them throughout the entire movie to connect with the animals on the planet, to like essentially break them like a horse. The whole movie is like weird, just this side of animal rape the whole time, including he basically has to get this dragon creature into submission to bring all the tribes together because he's the best at bestiality. It's important that that part of that crazy movie be preserved, because taking that out is like, oh, no, give him some credit. He wouldn't have them use the same way he communicates with animals to have sex with each other. That's crazy. That's something I really liked about that movie, because it is crazy as shit. But like, if you're going to have an actual alien world, something that's crazy as shit that goes against our morals is at least compelling. Because a lot of the other things in that movie, borrowing from a lot of like African traditions and stuff, is not compelling. It's kind of like not the best, I think. Anyway, that's gone. That doesn't exist in that movie on Amazon anymore. When
they just fully cut that, like
they didn't. They cut the part where they intertwined those things together, and they just sort of act like that doesn't exist in their world. So the part where they like have sex, they are just sitting together, and then it like is them like sort of like making out or whatever it is they do, but there's no mention of that. In the original cut, the cut that everybody bought when it came out on DVD, the cut that exists as that movie, they literally take their hair and they put it together and it does the thing, and that's them having sex, the end. So the idea that they removed that is really upsetting to me, because now I'm just going to sound like a crazy person if people haven't fucking seen it in the theater or own a copy. And now that everything's fucking streaming, they're like taking away my ability to even tell people it's real, because I have to own it to show it to anybody. Fuck. Anyway. That's besides the point. We should
years from now, you'll be telling people about this and starting your story by saying, "I'm not schizophrenic, but
this really happened to me." But it just brings up the idea of like, what if in Citizen Kane they edit it to make it look like rich people are the good guy? Like, I just don't want it to start being whatever the fuck these companies want to say is the movie now, because that's not art. That's propaganda at that point. Like, that's the difference between art and propaganda, is art is a point of view of the people. We need to keep it that way. Even if it's gross, it needs to just have a rating, so you can have like your kids version of like your streaming services, and then just like, we can't go back into Blade Runner and say, look, he's not a rapist, you guys. He's a rapist. That's part of the compelling part of that plot. Deal with it or don't, whatever. But I don't know. It, like, on that note, Blade Runner is interesting to think about, the original, because the fact that he is like very abusive towards that other character is part of the discussion of whether or not robots are people if they are advanced enough. That's the whole point. And I've heard people talk about that movie in the past about like, well, it's not a good movie. Like, he rapes that robot. And it's like, that is the point. Like, you have to think about that shit. Like, it's not art if you take all that shit out and just say like, well, like, look at the pretty scenery. Anyway, that's an art dork rant. But I just wanted to get past that and mention it. Anyway, so I watched some movies. They're all bad Christmas movies. I'll probably talk about those between Christmas and New Year's, because right now, some messages from my pops about playing. Nope, not Snow, because he's a normal human being. He is sending me a message about playing Mario Kart and making pot pies. Normal human stuff.
Normal human being.
Oh, okay. He actually sent me a message about he thinks the pattern he made on top of his pot pie is satanic. Cool. I'm into it.
Normal human being.
Sorry, let me change that thumbs up to a love. There we go. Now, so what amount did you pay attention to the last week's Game Awards? The appropriate amount is 0, and and the that was a good chip break.
It was.
And maybe the grosser version. I saw a bunch of like things come out, but I didn't realize it was fucking Disney's Investor Weekend is what it's called. Did you see the stuff that came out from those?
No, and also I did not pay any attention to the game awards.
Yeah. Jeff Keighley's weird advertisement hour. So just as like a
Chip ASMR.
This is like general nerd stuff for video games. I don't have any strong feelings about this stuff for the most part. They announced Dragon Age 4. Well, they didn't announce it. They re-announced Dragon Age 4, and they also announced the next Mass Effect game. They announced another Nier game, and they announced. Okay, well, I'll talk about that one. They announced the Callisto Protocol, which is like a spiritual successor to Dead Space by the people who did that stuff, but also it's a sequel to PUBG, so that's weird.
Okay.
It's a far future in the same universe to PUBG, so who the fuck knows what that is? For people unaware, PUBG is PlayerUnknown's Battleground, which is the game that... so Fortnite, which if you're listening to this, you're definitely aware of, is an incredibly popular, shitty video game where if you don't know how games feel good, you might enjoy playing this very bad feeling game. PUBG is the game that was it was made by a group that worked on other like small projects and stuff that got popular in the past. Then the overarching company that owns now Fortnite published PUBG to like get it out to people, and then stole everything from PUBG, made it look like World of Warcraft, and released it over the top of PUBG to then build an empire out of it that is now the what is that game store that they run now? Epic. Epic published all that stuff, very clearly stole it, which people make the claim rightfully that it's not stealing. They published it, so they have the right to use those ideas. Cool. That's why we need to have like not the corporate setup we have. PUBG still made plenty of money, still makes plenty of money. I'm not saying you have to feel bad for anybody, but like maybe we should not be like giving them all this credit for stealing an idea and stealing an art style and jamming it together. Anyway, so PUBG, the original Fortnite, is having a sci-fi sequel in the far future made by the people who made Dead Space, which is a horror game that's very weird and very Japanese, and I'm kind of excited to see what that's about. But that's called the Callisto Protocol, which is a terrible name. And also, after Comet Ping Pong shit and like CP being like, well, it's cheese pizza, but it's also child porn, all that garbage, maybe making something that is definitely, if it's popular, going to be shortened to CP is not the best idea in the world. That's just me.
Probably not.
And the thing that I want to talk about in this, also a new Perfect Dark, that's vaguely exciting. The Dragon Age and Mass Effect games, my assumption is that they will be hot garbage because they have the people who directed the past Dragon Age and Mass Effect games, who are like already not the people who like were in the original company from the games people really liked, but from the games that people like were lukewarm about a few years ago. All of the people who directed those games retired before these were announced.
Perfect.
Which really has a lot of like confidence building for these games. And they didn't say anything about them. They were just like, they're coming. You're going to love it. I bet people will love it because people are video game people more than anyone else in the world. I'm pretty sure are big simping just all the time. That is how they are. That's how Gamergate happened. That's how our whole world got shitty, is because people who are really into video games get really opinionated, and then somehow that turns into hating women. So I don't put any stock in the video game like fan community until something is out and people have a chance with it, much like Cyberpunk. That is the funniest train wreck I've ever seen, and I'm really enjoying all of it. But the important game news is Ark 2. Ark, a bad video game for bad people. It's I mean, if you like Ark, that's cool. It's like prehistoric, like really trashy, like made for TV sci-fi style Minecraft. Whatever.
Okay.
It's fine. It's whatever. It has cool graphics. It has terrible graphics. The only cool thing about Ark is that your character shits all the time because they wanted to make it realistic, and you can throw your shit at people and dinosaurs and stuff. Ark 2, though, announced, and its trailer is like, I want to say 6 minutes, starring Vin Diesel, digital Vin Diesel, as a cyber caveman. And it's just Vin Diesel. It's clearly voiced by Vin Diesel, his grunts and stuff. It is all about Vin Diesel. It is really weird. I will send that video to you. I forgot to send it before the podcast, but I still need you to see it. And everybody listening to this, go watch Ark 2 Vin Diesel trailer. It's like maybe you took LSD for the second time and you saw something really important. So that's all I care about from the Video Game Awards. Video game announcements aren't interesting because half of that stuff doesn't come out when it says it will, and half of it changes so drastically, who the fuck knows what it'll be. I love video games, and I think those announcements are all garbage. So the real thing is this just giant dump that that Disney took on everybody from the position of investor weekend, or sorry, investor day, because our culture is trash and that's what we wait for, I guess. So I'm looking at their official announcement that is like 50 fucking pages. That's a little overdone. It's probably like 30 something pages, but it's way too much. And I was looking through this like, oh, what am I going to talk about right before the podcast, like maybe an hour before? And I was like, I saw one or two things. I was like, I've never heard of that. I thought I looked at the trailers. That is the craziest thing I've ever seen. So I decided I'm not going to look at any more of it. I'm just going to go through and tell you what's coming out. Because if that's the kind of weird shit they're doing, then they're doing some weird shit.
Good.
So, what is this? Okay, so here's the start of like some Disney Plus announcements. Disney Plus is making new Swiss Family Robinson. This is like not an interesting thing, but that's coming out. They're making a Percy Jackson and the Olympians, so they're turning that series into a series instead of movies. They are making a Beauty and the Beast series, which sounds
Didn't that already happen?
bad. There are so many goddamn Beauty and the Beast series. One of the Christmas movies I watched is called Christmas Bell, and it's a worse version of Beauty and the Beast. It is worse than Beastly. Isn't that what that fucking movie is called?
Yeah.
It's worse.
I love Beastly.
They are making 4 live-action series set to debut in 2021, including The Mighty Ducks, which doesn't need a series. Emilio Estevez Returns. Why? They're making a Turner and Hooch series, that fucking movie about Tom Hanks and his police dog. Why? They're making Big Shot a series, which I think is a new title at least, and they're making a Mysterious Benedict Society series based on a best-selling book, so I bet that'll be great because all of those always do well. They are making a new documentary film series called Cousteau about whales. They're making a real Bug's Life, which seems like they're just using that to like wedge that in. Like, just make a fucking show about bugs. It's fine, Disney, goddammit. Because they own FX now, I guess. They're making a bunch of their like American Horror Story stuff available and continuing that, I think. Nicole Kidman will star in 9 Perfect Strangers, which she executive produced. I don't know what that means. I don't care. They renewed It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia for 4 seasons. Weird announcement, but I guess it's investor stuff. They are making a series adaptation of Alien. Not necessary. They are making a 2-season show about the Rolling Stones. Okay. They are making a retelling series of James Clavell's Shogun. Not necessary, but at least it's a little different. Walt Disney Studios content. They are making... Okay, this is where it starts getting fucking ridiculous. Here are the new Star Wars series, live-action series coming out. We got Obi-Wan Kenobi starring Ewan McGregor with Hayden Christensen returning as Darth Vader. That's a mistake. We got 2 series set in Mandalorian era from Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, Rangers of the New Republic, and Ashoka about Ahsoka. We've got...
Okay.
Ashoka is being played by Rosario Dawson, I guess. We've got new titles announced for Disney Plus, including Andor, Star Wars The Bad Batch, that's 2 separate titles, a Star Wars Visions, that's a show. We got Lando, a show about Lando Calrissian starring Donald Glover. We got The Acolyte, I don't know what that's about, don't care, and a droid story. Those are all separate live-action Star Wars series coming soon, I guess. The studio is also making... This is the one I saw that I was like, what the fuck? They're making a Willow series with Warwick Davis coming back. Willow is like an early 90s fantasy starring Warwick Davis and pre-Batman series... what's his name? Val Kilmer, before he like turned into like weird current day Val Kilmer. That is like unless you are a weirdo, which I admit to, you do not know what Willow is. It's like a weird fantasy movie that's like, it feels like watching a movie about the, oh shit, it's not going to work if I can't remember the video game's name. There's a video game series about like a medieval character that like changes throughout the course of you playing it. That's not very good, but people love it. A lot of video games are like that. Yeah. Willow felt like the inspiration for that because it's not very good, but like people like it still. But that's crazy. That is like 30 years ago, and they're bringing it back. It's 1 movie. That's all there ever was of Willow. Actually, type in Willow into whatever you have and look at it and tell me if that rings even the slightest bell. They announced the next installment in the Indiana Jones franchise. They also announced another Star Wars feature film by Taika Waititi called The Children of Blood and Bone. They also announced another Star Wars film called Rogue Squadron. I am less than halfway through these announcements.
Oh my gosh.
They announced...
I definitely for sure have never seen this.
Yeah. They're making a sequel to that thing that almost nobody's ever seen.
Perfect.
They are rebooting 3 Men and a Baby with Zac Efron. They are making a new Sister Act starring Whoopi Goldberg again. These are all like properties from when I was like too young to know what the fuck these were. They are making Hocus Pocus 2. That's
Oh
Hocus
no.
Pocus is from '93. There is no reason. They are making live action Pinocchio. They are making Chippendale Rescue Rangers, a hybrid live action movie starring John Mulaney and Andy Samberg. They are making Peter Pan and Wendy.
Okay. The Rescue Rangers one I could possibly get behind because I think it's going to be terrible, but I
I'll be
want to see
honest, I'll watch a lot of these terrible things.
it.
I have my Disney friends Disney login because they're very, very nice about their logins for stuff. And like, I personally don't, I'm not a Disney like stan, but I do want to be like caught up on the garbage.
Right.
And honestly, I've never seen Moana. I still want to see it. So like, also, so here's a teaser for next week. I'm gonna be spending my Christmas with The Rise of Skywalker, so I'm gonna have a lot of opinions on that next week.
This is it is this is what we were doing last Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
But this
wanted to
time,
make sure.
it won't be me getting the description of the whole movie from someone else.
Okay, I'll have to rewatch it so I can.
Mhm.
I remember having a lot of opinions about that, but it's been a while, so.
And I wanna get it in the docket now, so we have more impetus to struggle our way through it. We're gonna watch Kirk Cameron's Saving Christmas. It's on YouTube with ads. If anybody else wants to join us, yay! It's bad. I know that. But I would love to yell about it. They're making Peter Pan and Wendy, starring Jude Law as Captain Hook. They are making Disenchanted, a sequel to the hit film Enchanted, with Amy Adams returning.
Okay, okay, but is what's his name? Patrick Hugh Dempsey? Patrick Dempsey. Is he gonna be in it?
I'm curious because it doesn't say anything about if he's in it, and they don't have a video about it. So
because
I guess
if they change the love interest, that ruins everything.
I'm gonna guess they changed love interest to not be there anymore, just based on
Disenchanted. Oh no.
Yeah, based
They're
on
gonna
the
get
name.
divorced.
Yeah.
Okay, I no longer want to see.
Yeah. So they are making
so
Greek
sad.
Freak about NBA star Giannis Antetokounmpo. I don't know this person, but hopefully I didn't ruin that name. They are developing new animated takes on Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild, Night at the Museum, starring Simon Pegg. Cool. Also includes preview of upcoming feature films Jungle Cruise, Cruella, the prequel to Lion King, and The Little Mermaid. Among today's biggest news was the reveal that Raya and the Last Dragon will debut on Disney Plus. I don't know much about that. It might be fine.
I don't know anything about that.
Upcoming feature film Encanto with Lin-Manuel Miranda. That's probably why they got him. They put Hamilton on Disney Plus. That explains why, if he's in their new stuff. He's now a Disney person, I guess.
Makes sense.
Oh, God. Okay, new animated series including Baymax, Zootopia Plus. I don't know why it's called that. Tiana, Moana the series, and Iwaju. Those are all, every word I said in there is a separate new series. They are doing a Turning Red series about a person who turns into a red panda. Here's proof. Is that just Disney ripping off Ranma 1/2? Because that's what that makes me feel like. They are making Light Spear. I don't know what the fuck that is. They're making Win or Lose. Lightyear, sorry. They're making a feature film, Luca. They are making Inside Pixar, Pixar Popcorn, Doug Days, and Cars series.
No.
Yeah, what we need is a Cars series. Uh, Doug Days? Doug the Squirrel? What the fuck is that from?
Is it like Doug the comic?
No, well, actually, that is not a... Wait. Spin-off Doug Days. Doug discovers the dangers of suburbia like puppies, fireworks, and squirrels. Maybe. Maybe Doug is afraid of squirrels. I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
So now we're getting to Marvel. Now.
Oh my god.
I am 2/3 of the way through this list on the page count.
How many more Avengers movies are we getting? How many more?
It's so many series. This is the part I saw before. Okay, MCU's exciting feature includes 3 new series for Disney Plus: Secret Invasion, starring Samuel L. Jackson, Ironheart with Dominique Thorne as Genius Inventor, and Armor Wars, starring Don Cheadle as War Machine, who faces Tony Stark's worst fears. I don't know what that means. I assume it means there's going to be a bunch of robots that he has to fight, because that's cheap to make.
Mm-hmm.
In addition, the studio's robust lineup of Disney Plus titles, you're not kidding, includes WandaVision, the like pseudo House of M series with Wanda and the Vision, post death, I believe. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which, watch the preview for that, looks terrible. The only one of these that I watched the thing for and I was like, that looks good, which is Loki. The Loki series looks good. They literally make him look like he becomes Howard Hughes, which means they might actually be tackling some light ideas of like problems in corporate US. Maybe, probably not. It is Disney, but I would love it if they did. They're starting a What If series, which is animated. That seems kind of interesting, just based on like their What If series is a comic series too. It's just a bunch of like things that are like when they did Marvel Zombies. Could be interesting, could be honestly terrible. I don't know yet. They're also doing an animated Miss Marvel. I like Miss Marvel. I don't know if that's going to be good though. And an animated Hawkeye, which part of Hawkeye that I like is the fact that Jeremy Renner is the dorkiest character in that whole thing, and watching him do dumb shit is fun. So I don't know that I want an animated Hawkeye. They are also making a She-Hulk series, which could be good. They're making a Moon Knight series, I think. They're making a Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. They're making an I Am Groot short. They're making Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, which is a feature film, I guess. They're making a Fantastic Four movie. They're making a Black Widow movie. They're making a Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings movie. They're making an Eternals thing. It's a movie. They're making a Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness movie, which I've heard is Lovecraftian, so maybe that's cool. I like the sharp-faced boys. He could be a good one. Yeah. They're making Thor Love and Thunder, which I believe is when they're passing it off to Natalie Portman to be Thor. I think that's what they're doing. It should have been what's her name, his friend from the series, played by I forget the lady's name. She was in Thor Ragnarok. She's a really good. Tia Thompson or Tessa Thompson. She would make a great Thor, but I think they're doing Natalie Portman because whatever. Because Natalie Portman. Whenever she's in a big movie, she's so good. So anyway, they're doing Black Panther 2. That's going to be complicated. Rip Boseman. He's cool. I don't know about Black Panther 2 yet. They should give it to Shuri. She was a good character. They're doing a Blade movie. Cool. They're doing Captain Marvel 2. They're doing Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Okay. Boy. And now we've gotten to ESPN. I don't care. This is a lot of ESPN news. That's not something I'm going to read to you. I just said like 50 movies and like 40 plus series that is so much shit that they are announcing for their various things.
That's
And that is the Disney Bukkake. You're welcome, everybody.
Wow. I wonder how that compares to like a normal or any other year. Do you think they're doing more just because people are inside?
I think this is their we started Disney Plus and this is how we're gonna do it. But now that Disney like is like a sizable percentage of our media, like that company owns so much shit. I didn't even know till this investor announcement that they owned FX. I didn't know that was Disney.
I didn't know they owned ESPN until
yeah. I knew ESPN. I also looked at Disney Plus for like the first time since it launched when I looked at somebody else's Disney Plus, and like I remembered once I saw it, but I had forgotten that they own all of The Simpsons. Like that's Disney. They own everything that Fox ever did except for like Fox News and like some select things, but like they own so much. Like it's ridiculous. And like Avatar is on Disney Plus. So I'm gonna have to watch that and see if they cut out the bestiality.
Boo. Give us back the bestiality. Gotta keep it authentic.
Gotta keep it authentic.
Yeah. Man, I wonder what other movies they've been cutting stuff out of.
I don't know. It honestly
that's kind of an odd one.
Right?
That's kind of a weird one to go with. Like, it's pretty. It's weird, but I mean, it's pretty harmless for the most part. You'd think they'd do something else.
There's a reason why I was the crazy person, even in my group of friends, yelling about the bestiality, because nobody gives a shit about that, and you shouldn't. But like, it's true. Like, if you learn to critique art, you learn to see what they're saying in art, and what they're saying in that art is they fucking all these animals 24/7. Like, that is part of the whole fucking thing in Avatar, and to cut that out changes it to be, on one hand, sure, okay, if they had not done that in the first place, that's fine. But on the other hand, that art is different now. And like that kind of like I'm not comfortable with that being a decision of like a company to just make. Sure, it's not saying it's not saying like Martin Luther King committed suicide or something. But like maybe it's because of the art training and things. I cannot separate the idea that is a possibility of the future from current actions, at least a little bit. I do not want people to start, especially corporations. If it's the director saying like, look, I didn't think about this. I was under a lot of stress. I was doing a lot of work. Honestly, I just don't want this to be like that, so I changed it. Then there's a written thing.
I've done LSD 2 times, so it's fine.
Yeah. That's okay, but I don't like the idea that Amazon is fucking doing that shit. That creeps me out. And it's not the only movie that's happened to. There are other movies with missing things in them. I just don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable with the power that some of these companies might have. Especially because, of course, they have that power, but they claim that they would never do that shit.
Yeah, that's weirder. If they did that and were like, "Hey, we cut it out because we think kids might watch it and it's weird," right. If they like gave some explanation, I'd be like, "Okay, that makes sense," or just like offer another version of it.
Well, Disney a while back already came out and said, like, we are planning on releasing things like Song of the South probably, but we're going to cut the offensive stuff out, which is like, you should. Like, first off, you can't put that movie up if that's what you're doing, but also like that movie is about normalizing slavery. Like, that movie is fucked up, and I own it specifically because I know you're not going to be able to like have that artifact if
Yeah.
Disney has their say. Mine is a bootleg copy. I bought it at like a weird Comic-Con booth where the guy was like, "You want Song of the South?" I was like, "Hell yeah, I do, buddy." So I have like a DVR. Literally, when it starts, you have to skip ahead and skip back to the start to even play it. And when it ends,
Oh.
it'll replay a second time. Not a third time, but for some reason it plays twice. But I own it. I have that.
It's like your uncracked can of Four Loko. You're just waiting
Yeah.
till the day.
I mean, really, it's one of those things where, like, I'm glad it's a bootleg because, like, there's something about if I own the originals, like, I got it. That's, like, creepier. That's like having a bunch of, like, Black Sambo antiques or something. I'm not about that shit. Like, I want proof. I don't want, like, a relic I can hold on to. But, like, we're not going to have physical media, like, in the way that we do now in the not too distant future. Like, we're already a society that has, like, collectively dumped most of our DVDs and CDs into a dumpster. So I already had that issue with video games, and I got over it to a degree because it's like, it's a video game. If it goes away, I still had that experience. Nobody needs to come look at my video game, right? Like, that's different. And it's only, I don't know, it's only like a certain number of video games that are important in that kind of way to, like, people who are of all ages are going to see this media for now. That'll change, but for now it's like that. The future of not having a physical thing needs to be dealt with in, like, a very archival way, though, and this isn't a very good indicator of what companies think we should actually do. So honestly, I think a lot of non-American companies do a much better job of being moral about this stuff. Is that my mic? It is. I hate that. It won't show up on the video. It just was showing up on my little mini screen. I think that we just need to be careful about it, I guess, is my summation. And I don't want to not talk about it, even if it's a boring, not useful topic to, like, harp
Even
on.
if Avatar is the first one to go down.
Yeah, even if Avatar is the first one to go down. I think they are going to be releasing the rest of the Avatars, or at least the next 3 or something, in not that long. So look forward to it. They're going to be bad, but I'm going to see them.
There's going to be 3 of them?
Avatar 5 is announced. That's 4 more.
That's so... Wait, how... Are there... Is there 1 or 2 right now?
There's 1. They've made 1.
That's what I thought. I couldn't remember if they had done 2. That's so many.
Uh-huh.
How are they going to do all that without the bestiality? It's going to get boring.
I would be surprised if Cameron changed it. I think that was a streaming decision.
Yeah, you're right.
So I don't think that's going to come into it. I think that happened, and in canon, that's real.
But after the fact, once it's made and Disney has it,
right,
they're going to cut it out.
So my hope is that there's more of it, to a point where cutting it out will be very noticeable.
There's only 20 minutes of the movie left.
I want a fucking scene where somebody comes into a door like, hey, holding their hair weirdness, and then there's just a cut and it's a new scene and you're like, wait, what? That's what I want. That's the Joe Biden presidency of media, where somebody comes in and it's like, hold on a minute, this is still bad. What's missing here? And then people start going like, wait, I gotta look into this? Ah, shit. Like, that's what I want.
I'm the craziest white boy you've ever seen.
You ain't black?
Oh, the things he says.
All right.
Things he says.
Here are the Christmas movies I watched that I will not be talking about yet. They include Christmas Bell, which is the worst Beauty and the Beast I've seen. A lot of sweaty running in that one.
Why?
And I'm going to be talking about Girlfriends of Christmas Past from 2016. That movie fucking sucks.
But it sounds so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should watch it if you think it sounds good.
Okay.
Weirdly, that movie was entertaining as shit, but it's bad as shit too. It's not good.
I like that. That's my sweet spot.
Yeah. I've gotten other people, though, to watch Christmas Movie Christmas, Christmas Crush, those important movies that I believe I talked about already.
Mm-hmm.
I had at length, I bet. I don't know.
It all blends together, but
yeah,
yes.
There's so many fucking shitty Christmas movies, and I've seen a bunch of them. I have like 3 more that aren't on this list that I've seen in the last couple weeks, and I honestly don't know if they are ones we talked about or not. But they include, like, obviously we talked about like Christmas Inheritance. I remember talking about that. That is terrible movie.
Yeah.
But I saw Eve's Christmas. Eve's Christmas in very short form, TLDR, probably talk about it next week, is another like time travel Christmas movie. Go into your perfect like version of Christmas. Except this one's about running away from getting married because the job you got's too cool. Very stupid. Anyway, but again, that movie was better than a lot of them. Not many of them are going to be as bad as Christmas Perfection. That one's still one of the worst.
Why do people think they can't have a Christmas movie without the name Christmas in the title? Why do they think people won't know?
Happiest Season works fine.
It's good. I still know what that's about.
Yes, and because
if you're mentioning the season, I know which season it is.
It doesn't say Christmas, so it doesn't blend into the rest of the garbage. Also, like, I've seen the ads and the like flash screens and stuff for Christmas Chronicles 2. I did see the original Christmas Chronicles. They're the Kurt Russell Christmas movies. The second one especially just looks like such fucking Christmas propaganda bullshit. And that version of Christmas, we're gonna watch Saving Christmas. You're gonna know about Christmaganda soon enough. Stay tuned for that. Anyway, I'm out of shit. I just wanted to unload Disney's Investor Weekend on everybody and get it out of my fucking mind.
I do have a good movie recommendation for people.
I would love to hear
it. In one singular good movie. It's on Netflix. It's called Safety Not Guaranteed, and it has Aubrey Plaza and the guy who plays Nick on New Girl. I always forget his name. I think it's Jake something. I don't know, but I like him and I like her. A couple of my favorite actors, and it's a good movie. I don't know if I guess, like, plot summarized, they all work for a newspaper, and one of them has the idea to investigate like a crazy ad that someone put in the newspaper asking for help time traveling, basically. So they want to go profile a crazy person.
I remember the ads for this. I will definitely watch that.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I liked it.
I did watch those Batman movies. I will probably talk about them. They are bonkers. If you Madison, or you people watching this want to watch Batman before we talk about it, they're on HBO. Unfortunately, that's like one of the only places that's like not extra paid to see it. I imagine you can rent them from anywhere, though. They're very like well-known movies. It's Batman from '89 and Batman Returns from '92, when Clinton got elected. So the cool thing is they are very like anti-corporate, very like an artist made this shit. Also, Batman fucking loves to murder in those movies. And that second movie, Batman Returns, is one of the fucking horniest movies I've ever seen. Holy shit. everybody's fucking wet and hard and talking about like how they're gonna fill in all those spaces. It is fantastic.
Ooh,
And it
boy.
takes place during Christmas. So go watch Batman
Oh,
Returns.
good.
Yeah.
A nice horny Christmas. That's what everybody wants.
Merry Christmas. That cat licked her mouth.
Oh.
Yeah, it's brief.
I might watch that. Yeah.
Yeah, you should watch that shit. That shit is still nuts. Those movies are actually fantastic. That's one of the few things where I've been like, I'm setting aside these movies and I'm watching them 100%. And they were really worth it. I watched them both at like midnight though, like different nights. So do that. That actually works really well for those movies. Anyway, there's a lot of shit going on. It's the holidays. I got a bowl full of oranges, and I think I am expended for today.
Yeah, me too. I think I've said it all.
But jabbers, thank you for joining us. Please email us if you would like at
it's this week's podcast at gmail.com all together.
And you can always follow us at Vegeta420 on Instagram.
69.
Yes.
42069.
I'm working on a Vegeta 42069 t-shirt because I love the idea of having that without context.
That's good. And be gone, thoughts.